Wow, Dr. Pym. Like who would have thought that once again, in your hour of need, that you would turn to us, you know?
Not me.
Help yourself.
Hey, what's up with the fancy pastry? We gotta keep the food budget down.
Well, what are we supposed to have for breakfast?
The oatmeal packets.
Oatmeal packets.
It's insult.
Why is it an insult?
Because it tastes like sand.
You know why? It's because it's organic.
No,
That's
it's
why.
not organic. It's sand.
It's the most important meal of the day.
You know what? You can get creative with it.
Break teeth.
Put a little brown sugar on it. You put some cinnamon. Put a little honey.
You-
whatever.
Guys, come on, man. We got bigger fish to fry.
When it came to doing the sequel, did you need any convincing to come back?
No, if I did, I was acting. You know, if I did, I'd try to be difficult because I wasn't negotiating. It was all, you know, settled. So, no, I had a really good time on the first one, and was looking forward to it. I did when I saw the script and everything. I didn't understand it. I'm not a comic guy, you know. So I didn't understand it, and then I was talking to Peyton, and saying, this doesn't make any sense. He said, no, of course. He said, when Scott, in Captain America, when Scott went to Europe, you know, to see, and they stole your suit. I said, whoa, Peyton, I didn't see Captain America. And he went, what? Because he's a total Marvel junkie, you know, from when he was a kid, and the whole way back. I said, I didn't see it. I said, if you told me to see it before I read the script, that would have been great. So I've had a little catching up along the way.
Did you need any convincing to sign on for a sequel?
No, I was really excited. I had never directed a sequel as a director. And this movie was really compelling to me because I felt like we sort of created the origins for Scott and for Hope and for Hank in the first movie, but there was so much more story to tell with these characters, and I really wanted to be the person to do it, particularly with Wasp, because we had really set up Hope as a character and seen her get the suit at the end, but we hadn't seen her as a hero. So that was the single most exciting thing to me about doing this movie. I think, have been really envious if someone else had done it.
And obviously it must have been nice to kind of been in place from the get-go rather than come on later in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. To have the time to really develop the screenplay and the gags and everything from the ground up and really be involved with everything, but really to have the time to develop the screenplay.
You get to be a little more hands-on this time, a little more kind of action and more in the thrust of the story. That must have been fun to do.
No, it was. I felt it was much nicer to feel sort of like an integral part of the story, and I got to wear the suit. Which was, you know, something I did look forward to from the first one. I kind of give the director a little nudge once in a while. It'd be nice to wear that suit. It looks so good on Paul Rudd. You know, he looks so masculine and muscular. I look like a dork next to him. You know, so they heard me. They heard me. So, yeah, it was nice to feel much more of a part, and to bring Janet back. And for her to be a real person and for her to be Michelle Pfeiffer. That was pretty cool.
It's a pleasure doing business with you, Sonny.
This movie is a lot more kind of, well, there's more effects. There's the quantum realm for start. That must have been a hell of an undertaking visually and getting that look right.
Yeah, the quantum realm, I think, was the single trickiest element of the movie, and particularly with the visual effects, because the good news is the bad news. It could be anything you wanted. It's really, really infinite. And we also had to figure out kind of the proper amount of quantum realm in the movie, because if you spend too much time down there, it can get a bit abstract. And our whole back half of our movie is really cross-cutting between this car chase in broad daylight in San Francisco in the quantum realm. So it was tricky to sort of develop it, and we knew we wanted it to be kind of psychedelic and trippy and visually interesting, but it also had to feel real and tactile.
This is where I learned the deep respect for green screen acting, which I was pretty dismissive about before I did one of these, because you're on an empty sound stage. Yes, you got a little bit of a floor, but there's nothing there. And they're telling you to look here and to look there, and this thing was coming down, and there's nothing there, And normally in most movies, when you do a scene, you have a sense of how the scene went. But these, because it's not till you go to the theater and see the picture that all the elements are brought in, that you really understand it. So that's part of the real fun for me of seeing one of these pictures when it's finished and see how it turns out.
And kind of in terms of where this movie sits in the wider scheme of things, I mean, what's it kind of like being involved in the MCU in that respect? Are you seeing other people's films waiting for something to happen? I mean, how does it all work? I mean,
we're really kind of developing our own movies, not in a vacuum, but really this movie is a little more standalone and wants to be its own thing. Having said that, there is crosstalk. I mean, again, when we were doing the first Ant-Man, when I was editing it, the Russo brothers came into the cutting room. I showed them footage of Scott Lang, just to see how Paul was playing that character and to give them an idea of the tone that we were doing in the first movie, which affected how they worked on Civil War. So there is this sort of crosstalk, but it's within this thing of where every movie wants to be tonally different. There are certain plot elements that need to sort of seed into other movies, but it's a really unique, creative experiment to be a part of. Yeah,
and obviously things that you do will have knock-on effects for 4, 5, 6 movies down the line.
Yeah, and it's fun because, we talked to Kevin Feige about it, and it's just like, is there anything? He's like, no, do your thing. The people who come after you are going to have to deal with the ramifications of what you do. So there is a plan in place, but there's also, I think, an incredible amount of flexibility and fluidity, with the movies, because they have to work on their own. They have to be a part of this larger universe, but they have to work as a satisfying storytelling adventure on their own.
I presume your character's journey with this universe isn't over yet. I mean, do you know anything about what's going to happen next, or?
I mean, without giving away the ending of this, I was left thinking maybe that's it. Maybe this is all one way to kind of clean it all up and don't have to worry about anybody. So I have no idea. I do know whatever's going to happen is probably going to be at least 2 years from now on the kind of Marvel schedule of the way things go. I've just really enjoyed it. I'm really proud to be part of this one, the Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think they did a great job for a sequel, and we'll see where it goes.
Who knows if we're going to do a third one? I hope we do, but I feel like there is a lot more story to tell with these characters. I mean, by the end of the movie, we're just seeing Scott and Hope in a sort of working partnership, and what will that look like going forward? And then, I think with the quantum realm, I think there's, we've just seen an infinitesimal amount of the quantum realm. So I think there's lots more story to tell with these characters.
You go low, I'll go high.
I have wings. Why would I go low?
We're gonna die. I don't wanna die. We didn't die! Hey, what'd I miss? We were just tiny.
It takes two to make a thing go right.
I was partners with Hank on a project called Goliath.
How big did you get?
My record, 21 feet. You?
65 feet.
65.
If you two are finished comparing sizes...
65.